Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're watching me for the first time and if you're not subscribed to this channel, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel and make sure you turn on the notification button so that whenever I make a new video, you'll be the first to know about it. Today, I'll be taking us through another topic, which is how to react to racism. How to react to racism. For most of us, that are people of color living across the diaspora, we must have experienced racism at one point or the other. And how do you deal with such things? I mean, when it comes up, it's a very sensitive topic that most people don't want to talk about, but I think it's important for us to talk about it because it's what we encounter on a daily basis. So the first thing that you need to do, if you got someone being racist towards you, would be to react calmly. You have to react calmly. One thing you need to know about racists is that they actually want to get at you. They want to bring out the monster in you. That's the point of doing that. And you have to disappoint them by reacting so calm, by taking it easy, because as we know, if you're annoyed and if you take actions when you are annoyed, you end up doing the wrong thing. So the first thing I'll tell you is just to react very calm. Some of the things that you can do is you can question the use of their words. For example, say someone use a word that you're not comfortable about, you can just question it, like, why did you say that? It's a good question to ask. Another thing is you can convey your feelings. You can convey your feelings. Like you can say, I'm not really okay with what you just said. I think that is not right. You can say things like, I think that is not right, just to show that you do not agree with what that person is trying to say at that point in time. Another thing you have to take note of is that you have to make sure that you don't get triggered. Don't get triggered. I said that the other time. The main intention of trying to be racist towards you in the first instance is that they want you to get triggered so that you commit mistakes. And always remember that you don't have to get triggered. You have to make sure that you calm down. At times it takes walking away and coming back before you react. Aside from reacting calmly, what else do you need to do? You need to react towards the issue and not the person. You need to react towards the issue and not the person. In most cases, I have a proverb. Buddha says, when something fires an arrow into you, you don't try and find out you don't try to find out who fired the arrow and what they are all about. You concentrate on getting out the arrow. You concentrate on getting out the arrow. So if somebody says something negative about you, about your color, about your race, I would advise that you focus on, addressing the issue, which is what that person has said, rather than focusing on the person. One thing about racists is that they don't want to be called racist. So rather than calling them racist, you can just, you can tell them that what you just said, is, I'm not comfortable with what you just said. I think what you just said is racist. So there's a difference between saying what you just said is, your comment is sound like that of a racist, or your comment, your comment doesn't go down well with me. I mean, you can just say that rather than saying, you're a racist and, I know you're after me, which is what most of us will do. I've been in that condition before. I mean, you want to come out and say that. I advise that you don't say that. Just talk about what the person has said that is against the social norms. You can just tell the person what you've said is not something that you should have said in a public place and all that. And there's a big difference between, going out, calling the person out as a racist, or saying, I don't agree with what you've said, and you should have, next time you should have said it the other way. Yeah, so let's try as much as possible to react towards the issue. Let us be objective about the issue and not about the person that, that says something racist to us. Another thing that we need to take note of is that if you think the issue is like getting so serious, make sure that you are the first to report to the police. Make sure that you are the first to report to the police. In most cases, most of us, we don't take actions, and these issues, if it gets aggravated, it gets to the police, and the offenders are always the one that first, go ahead to report the issue, rather than you as the victim. You're supposed to be the first person to report the issue, so that, because the way police go, all over the world is, if you're the one that reports on the issue, then the other person will be charged. So if you fail to report an issue, then you will be charged. Then if you're charged, you'll be left to defend yourself. So rather than waiting for someone to come for you before you go for them, if you know someone is trying to be racist against you, and you've been able to gather some evidences against that person, please don't wait until they are the first person to report you. You can go ahead and report to the police or any concerned authorities. Another thing that we need to note is that if you're experiencing racism, make sure that you gather as much evidences as possible. You can only prove this by evidences. If you have not got evidence to prove your case, then it means nothing has happened. So try as much as possible to get evidences. Then I would like to take a case and talk about it. So what happens if you're experiencing racism in school, or maybe in your place of work? So let's say your superior is being racist towards you. What do you do in such a case? The first thing you need to do is you have to find out if it is intentional or not. At times it is not intentional. I'll give you an example of that. For example, in a school whereby your teacher always call you to give the black points of an issue. Say, for example, you're black, and the teacher will always call you to, give us the black points of the topic we're talking about. In such a case, the teacher might not know that calling you out to give black points as a black person could be offensive to you. If that is offensive, I advise that you just do something. Just call the teacher and have a personal or a private meeting with the teacher, and talk to the teacher and let the teacher know what your opinion is. You can just tell the teacher that I find it offensive that you always call me to analyze the issue from the black points, and I'm pretty sure if it is not intentional, the teacher will make amends. So what about if it is intentional? If it is intentional, what you need to do is you have to make sure that you find out, and you're very, very sure, because you don't want to make mistake, especially if it is in your school or if it is in your place of work. Say your superior, say your boss is being racist towards you. What do you need to do? In such a case, you need to talk to the next level of authority. You need to talk to the next level of authority. That may be your HR, that may be a manager that is superior to your boss. You can take it to such a person and express your concern. Like I said, make sure you gather enough evidences so that at least you'll be able to prove a case in such a situation. Wherever you live in the world, I know that there are different bodies that that are out there to help victims of racism. So if you need to report, please go online and make sure that you find out everything that you need to know in order to report a racism case. You can also schedule a private meeting in which you tell your manager what you feel. Like at times, like I said, my first action would be, if I know that my manager is being racist towards me, I would prefer speaking to him about it first and let him know, because at times if you don't speak to him, he might tell you that he doesn't know or he doesn't agree with what we are saying. But if you have confronted him, when I say confront him, I don't say you should just go to him and just start saying negative words to him, you can just call him and, you know, have a coffee and discuss about it. Then if he doesn't listen, then like I said the other time, you can take it to the manager above him or maybe the HR. Going forward, there is one thing, there are things that I would like us to take away from this video today. Let us know that when we're talking about color, God doesn't know anything about color. You know, human race is the same thing, black, white, you know, brown, whatever we know today. Going forward, there are things I would like us to take away from this video. So if you witness racism, say you are not the person in question. It doesn't have to be a black brother. It might be maybe someone from Asia is being attacked by someone, and you are right there sitting, you are a bystander. It is good for you to speak out and say your opinion if it is safe. If it is safe. So I mean, you don't have to. It doesn't have to be like someone of the same color with you. It could be someone of another color who is being attacked by someone else. You can say your opinion if it is safe, and if it is not safe, you can, you know, take some actions like going, like sitting beside that person. Say the incident happened in a bus, and maybe in a bus, which I mean, so if it happened in a bus and maybe you're sitting on the other side and you see the person being abused, you can just, you know, stand up from where you are and sit beside the person and ask the person if he or she is okay. I mean, you know, this will lift the mind of the victim a lot. Another thing we need to do is that if there is any evidence that we could provide, I mean, in assisting the victim to report the case, you know, maybe to the bus driver, maybe you want to ring the authorities, maybe the victim wants to ring the authorities and make complaint about what has happened to him or her. If there's any evidence that you will be able to provide, I would advise that we render our help and make sure that we provide such evidences. Another important thing is that because racism is two ways. I mean, it does not only happen to people of color, it happens to the other way as well. So one thing we need to do as parents is let's talk to our children, let's talk to our kids whenever they are making mistakes. I mean, whenever they use words that are not good in public domain, or whenever they use words that may be offensive to other people, let's try and talk to them and tell them that, you know, the word that you've used is not something you should use in public domain because some sector of the societies may be offended. And let's make sure that we are good examples to them, so that so that if we're good examples to our children, then we can be sure that they will go out there not becoming a racist, but, you know, becoming responsible adults in the future. If you've watched this video, like I said the other time, if you have not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification button so that whenever I make a new video, you'll be the first to know about it. Before I go, I want you to know that, you know, racism is human created, as in it was created by a certain set of people that felt like they need to classify people according to their color, according to their language and all that. God doesn't know anything about racism, and so if you're a victim of racism, don't worry. Don't worry about that. God doesn't have any problem with you. You are created by God, and everything that God has created is beautiful. And also, know at the back of your mind that you are not the one that had a problem. The person who is racist against you is the one that has a problem. I mean, it's a psychological problem that most people cannot solve, and so it is never your problem. So until my next video, stay blessed.